So in this video, I want to speak about my thoughts, share my thoughts and my recommendations on the anticipated fuel hike that is being touted on the news. And I was just checking out the news on businesstech.co.za, and I saw on other websites as well where it is confirmed that there is possibly going to be a fuel hike again in October 2023, right? The petrol price is estimated at an increase of 112 cent, and then diesel is anticipated at a price, an increase of 175 per liter. So it's petrol at 112 per liter, as well as diesel at 175 per liter. Now, my experience tells me that, even though it won't be those exact prices in terms of the increases next week, but it will be actually prices that are close to these two amounts that I have mentioned. A little bit less or a little bit more. But definitely it will not be prices that will be less than that, or way less than that, rather. But it will be prices that are close to what I've mentioned. So here are my thoughts on it. So first and foremost, South Africa is ruled by the African National Congress, all right? These are black leaders in terms of who is in power right now. These are black leaders, and these are people who, on their manifestos, are pro-poor. They want to make us believe that actually they, being in power, is a work that will produce a better life for all. In fact, that is their slogan: a better life for all. A good story to tell at some point, but at the moment, I think it's a better life for all, and also tumamina, send me. Now, I am not sure, but I don't think this is what we send them to do. Asinithumanga ukuthi siniyokwenza lento. We did not send you to do this. Especially if you look at the plight of the poor, as well as the middle class in South Africa. The middle class person, middle class couple, middle class family is really, really stretched at this point and cannot afford some of the things that were affordable, let's say 3 to 5 years ago. All right? But let's focus on the poor. Let's focus on the indigent. Let's actually focus on someone who has no means at this point in time and has no way of creating extra income for themselves or for their families. What are they going to do when the petrol price goes up? Obviously, diesel will go up, and paraffin possibly will also go up. That has a direct impact, a domino effect, right? A ripple effect in terms of the prices of food, the price of transport, the price of clothes, the price of goods and services going up. And I want to ask this question to the government: what will the indigent do? What does the poor do when the petrol price is not cushioned by the government, right? It is not taken care of so that it does not reach the increase, is not reached by, or rather does not affect the poor, right? I think government needs to really cushion this increase so that it does not reach the poor. It doesn't affect the poor. As the prices keep going up, we know what's going to happen. There will be a knock-on effect where producers, manufacturers, service providers, you name it, they will relegate the price. They will transfer the price over to the customer. And who is the majority customer? Who is the customer? In this case, I'm zooming in to the poor. It's the poor that are going to suffer. In fact, it's the poor that are already suffering, right? Now, I want to make a few suggestions, and I don't want this. I don't want to make this into a ranting and raving video. But these are my suggestions. Number one, I think the government needs to sit down at a central point, at a central committee that deals with the issue of social development and the protection of the poor and the indigent. I think there needs to be a concerted effort around how, as government, we are going to really take care of the poor, make sure that the poor that is not affected, does not feel the effect of the increase, the imminent increase of petrol, which will therefore have a knock-on effect on an imminent increase on goods and services. That's the first one. Number two, I think there needs to be a long-term thinking in terms of planning. All right? We need to plan in advance and say, how does a government, a black government, in a country as rich as South Africa, how does the government really go out of its way, right, to create a system, right, create an economic, or rather an ecosystem where the poor, slowly moves out of that phase of being poor. In other words, we need to talk about the things that are really urgent. I see a lot of people who speak, right? I see a lot of conferences when, the minute you log into your Instagram account, the minute you log into Twitter, into social media, you see a lot of we have a lot of conferences and people saying a whole lot of things. What we do not have is action. We do not have action. We have what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once called the paralysis of analysis. We are paralyzed as a nation, as the middle class, as leaders, as government officials, as business executives. We are paralyzed at the point of analysis. We are analyzing too much. We are not doing anything about the plight of the poor. This is a ticking time bomb. And as many leaders have said before, we're sitting on a time bomb, and it will not be a long time until this bomb goes off. Now, I'm not an alarmist, but I am saying we need to do something about the plight of the poor. We cannot, I repeat, we cannot continue to let things move the way they are without addressing the issue of unemployment, the issue of poverty, the issue of the poor in society, which has a direct bearing also on crime. All right? So these are my two suggestions. At a short term, in the short term rather, let's have a government that is going to cushion the poor, right, from the government funds, cushion the poor from the rise of the petrol price, which has a bearing on the goods and services. Secondly, let's have a long-term view, a plan that says, how do we ensure that the poor are getting less poor and are moving out of their state of being indigents? I hope this helps. Below this video, if you are watching on YouTube, just check on the information below, the description below. Support this video. Any amount that you can send through, the information is down below on this video, so that I continue to make these videos. And thank you for watching.